Hi everyone, welcome to this session on Beam. So this is a AMA session, which is a Ask Me Anything session with Beam. So today we have the Beam team with us, including Alex, Amir, and Suhas. So they will be answering all your
Everyone,
queries if you
welcome
have
to the
any
session on Beam. So this is a AMA session, which is a Ask Me Anything session.
Yeah, okay, great. So, definitely. So, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us in this session. And the session is organized by Zubi. So, in case you don't know about Zubi, I'll just give you a brief introduction. So, at Zubi, we are building the next gen edtech platform for emerging technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, quantum computing, and others. So we are building a complete integrated and inclusive ecosystem for anyone to come learn from various courses, explore various events, various job opportunities, internship opportunities, network with each other, and have a great learning curve. So as I said, that today we are having an AMA with Beam India. So over to you guys. You can take it further from here.
So, hi everyone. I'm Alex, the CTO of Beam, and we have a great list of questions. So, would you like to introduce yourselves, and then we will start answering them?
Right. I think thanks so much for joining in. I'd like to thank Zubi for hosting us, and also I'd like to thank Amir and Alex for joining us here. Beam India is really happy to make this happen as well. So first of all, the AMA is basically structured into two sections. The first section is going to be live here, where Yogesh is going to be asking us many questions regarding Beam, and the second session would be a complete hands-on session where you can come ask the team what you have on mind directly with us, and we can answer you directly. So yes, I think so Alex is our CTO. He's also the tech lead of Beam. He's doing an amazing job, getting us on top of the tech stack for everything. And also Amir is the COO. He makes sure that everything runs smooth in Beam, and he's also responsible for a lot of other cool stuff. Also, a shout out to Gus. He's our community head, and also we have a huge team behind us, a very talented team. They're building amazing products and shipping it at lightning fast speed. So really proud of the team as well. So I think we can go ahead and kickstart. Yogesh, you can probably get started with the questions and things like that, unless you have something to add.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, Suhas, for giving a brief introduction and introducing everyone. So we can definitely start with the question. So as Suhas mentioned, that in the first part, I'll be going through some of the basic questions so that and if anyone of you don't have a general idea of what actually Beam is and what they are doing, so you can get a general idea. And after that, after listening to the conversation, you may be having a lot of doubts how exactly the things are working. If you need to start with this ecosystem, then how can you do that and all of that stuff. So that you feel free to enter all of your doubts in the comment section, and we'll be taking it once we discuss some of the basic things. And also one more heads up that I want to give to all of the participants, that at the end of this session I'll be discussing some of the details about the consensus blockchain bootcamp scholarship that we have exclusively for the Zubi community. So top 10 people will get the consensus blockchain bootcamp for free, which is actually worth 1000 USD. Okay, so I'll be telling all that details after the session. So going ahead, okay, so I'll just start asking a few of the questions. So, Alex, in your presentation during LetCon, so you talked a lot about trust. Okay, so how do you feel about the levels of trust involved in the current DeFi platforms, and how is Beam actually approaching with the confidential DeFi?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, the trust is one of the central, let's say, things that the whole crypto industry is disrupting very heavily. And currently, in the Ethereum community, I think what's going on is a combination of decentralized components, the smart contracts themselves that run on the Ethereum network. But in order to provide better usability, I think there are a lot of centralized services that are built around Ethereum. For example, like the MetaMask wallet, which is one of the most popular wallets to interact and to trade on Ethereum. It has this extension that you download, so all the secrets are stored on your local machine, but then you have some kind of centralized place to get it. Or, for example, if you take Uniswap application, you go to the Uniswap website to do the trade, but of course, and then in the backend, it interacts with the contract behind it. So there is a combination going on, but and it works great. It gives great usability. 1 second. So I think that it works good, but you need to understand like what is going on, what you're doing. Where is the centralized part? Where is the decentralized part, right? So there is always this issue of understanding how this works. And I think it's important today. I think it's still very important to understand how things work in order to be able to figure out which ones are decentralized and trusted components and which are decentralized. And I think it will take time until people are really like get used to figuring this out. In Beam right now, what we have is basically all of our services are completely decentralized because you're using either your desktop wallet or your mobile wallet, and it directly connects to the network. We do not yet have any centralized components. And even if we do, like Blockchain Explorer, you still can run your own very easily, or relatively easily. You can run your own front end for that. But we are going in the same direction because we are also developing a series of centralized but trustless components because of the convenience of this approach. So I think, once again, we are doing basically going in the same direction. I don't think it's really something you can completely avoid. Right, so you can try to be decentralized all the way, but then it will be extremely inconvenient in many cases. And I think it's okay, this combination. But still, I think it's important to understand where you're going and why and what you're seeing. And of course, monitoring, that when you're going to the Uniswap website, you need to make sure that it's actually this website. You have to check all these, HTTPS protocol and all the certificates, whatever you do, because just like when you download the wallet, like Beam Wallet, you have to check the signatures, you have to check the certificate as well, because this is the weaker spots, right? Not the Ethereum itself, but rather the ecosystem. You shouldn't make deals on like third-party website without understanding what's going on, because even though it might work, you're still vulnerable to all kinds of attacks. So it's very important to learn about it, to read about it, and to figure out how to use it correctly. So that's the answer to that question.
Yeah, definitely, like completely agreed that all these things, the confidentiality and everything plays a very important role in DeFi. So like moving ahead, so what do you think some of the use cases, some of the current use cases, or maybe some of the potential future use cases of Beam?
Up until the latest release, the 5.0, we were basically a confidential cryptocurrency. And the use cases of confidential cryptocurrency involve confidential transactions, being able to trade confidentially, buy things, move your coins around, and things like that. So very basic use cases with complete confidentiality. However, when we decided to go into DeFi, immediately the number of use cases has expanded very quickly. And now what we're doing, we're currently building the infrastructure that will allow creating more and more use cases as we go forward. So when we talk about the end game, like where we're going to get probably by the beginning of 21, we're talking about variety of trading possibilities, including basically various DeFi applications, whether it's confidential stablecoins, a very important use case, confidential trading applications, whether it's perpetual swaps or lending or any other applications that we have today on Ethereum, which is also very important. And I think eventually the ability to move assets from the Ethereum to Beam and trade them using the bridges that we're currently working on. This is also going to be important part of it. So to make this kind of general statements is basically an ability to trade any type of value, from any field with complete confidentiality. That's what we want to achieve in the next 9 to 12 months of development. That's our goal.
Okay, great. So, one more thing that I really wanted to know from all of you is that what are some of the things that you would love to see developed on Bean in the coming years, maybe? So, what excites you the most? So, if all of you can share your views.
Yeah. So for me, ability to have confidential stable coins is definitely something I think that will be very welcome to traders in general. Being able to trade with confidentiality will become, I think, more and more important as this ecosystem matures and progresses and more serious applications arrive. So it will no longer be possible to just trade while you are constantly aware that somebody can do front running or any other manipulation with all this information that they can gain from just monitoring the network. So I think as the DeFi ecosystem develops, and right now we see this explosive phase, right? We see this explosive growth. Suddenly, like a lot of applications become very popular and people start trading in large amounts. And eventually what happens is that it reaches some kind of maturity state, right? So the applications become more mature and people come to rely on them. I think as that happens, the importance of confidentiality is going to grow. It really depends because everything is evolving very quickly and we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we see that there are several approaches which are moving in different directions. Like, for example, there are second layer solutions for confidentiality on Ethereum inside the smart contracts, like Tether and using zero knowledge proofs. And we see that there are networks like Beam, which try to solve this from the bottom up, from the first layer up, right? So basically what I think will happen, some of these directions will converge and provide more, let's say, unified solution for this entire ecosystem. So this is where we want to be. We want to grow not as a just, kind of separate direction. We want to grow together with the ecosystem and contribute to this DeFi experience as we think it should be done. So for me, that's the goal, right? It doesn't really matter what kind of application we will develop or what kind of application will be more usable or popular, but eventually when we can say that this entire field is private and confidential as we would like it to be, I think then we can say that we reached our goals.
I think Alex really, gave a clear picture there. What I think he also, means is that there will be more interoperability between cryptocurrencies because as you see, compared to say 2 years ago, now there are a lot more cryptocurrencies. So technology is something which is, constantly evolving. So what Beam wants to do is wants to have, it wants to be a leader of private DeFi. And it also wants to have bridges, especially for Ethereum, so that, you have the best of both worlds. And eventually, what I'd love to see is, Beam sort of being used by even other projects in, ways we haven't imagined. For example, maybe other projects could use, the privacy feature of Beam and, various other things like that, because DeFi especially is very popular in the lending and borrowing space. So we're speaking about, changing the way banking itself is sort of working. So I think that has a huge potential. And going forward, I think 2021, 2022, we'll see an explosion in, the applications here. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So, Amir, do you have anything to say about it?
No, I think they pretty much nailed it, everything I wanted to add as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so for the next question, so we have had a basic about what Beam is and like how is it maintaining privacy, confidentiality, and all. So I just wanted to know that is Beam the most advanced privacy blockchain, or are there other players also in the market who are doing something similar, or maybe in the same sector? So what's your take on it?
Yeah, so the 5.0, the latest hard fork, was very important because we have added an additional protocol which is called Lilanto. So Mimblewimble by itself is the base protocol that Beam uses from day one. It has two very important features. One of them is that it's confidential, of course, and also it is very scalable in terms of the blockchain size, because it allows to remove all the intermediate outputs from the blockchain and keep it compact when you add a new node to the system. So that's the initial protocol that we use. However, it has one problem with linkability, that if you are doing a very targeted attack on a specific individual and you are monitoring the network, large amounts of network, you can statistically try to recreate the transaction graph for this specific individual. So it's very difficult to do. It's much more difficult than some articles out there claim, but it's still theoretically possible. So the addition of Lilantus allows to completely break this linkability for the specific Lilantus transactions, but even more importantly, it improves the security of the blockchain in general. So if people use Lilantus, the chances of pinpointing these specific transactions get much smaller because of the Lilantus transactions. They break the graph in certain places, random, right? So I think that together with Lilantus Mimblewimble, right now, in practical terms, I think Beam Network is the most secure cryptocurrency out there. And even though Zcash, they have zero knowledge proofs, which is unbelievably great technology, and they have theoretical advantage, when we talk about practical implications, the fact that they still have large portion of completely open, non-private transactions makes this network weaker in general. And Lilantus has 64,000 anonymity set. So if it's reached, if it's used, it's a very good, very large number. So I think that today, because Beam is confidential by default, like there are no open transactions at all the transactions are Mimblewimble by default. And with the addition of Lilantus in the latest fork, and in the next version 5.1, which will be released soon, we will also make it usable from our UI wallets, both mobile and desktop. I think it will make Beam practically the best confidential cryptocurrency out there as of today. So that's the situation as of right now.
Okay, so like you talked a bit about Mimblewimble and the other versions. So like, was there any specific order or there any reason for releasing it in a particular like versions, like first maybe Mimblewimble and then others? So like, can you go a bit into detail for this?
Yes, when we started our project back in March 2018, we took Mimblewimble as our base protocol because it provided very elegant solution for privacy and confidentiality. And it was practically it was good enough confidentiality, and combined with this scalability and the fact that it's like very simple to understand, it uses relatively simple cryptography. It does not require trusted setup. It was very attractive at the moment. It was also very popular. There was a lot of buzz around it. So we implemented it, and we launched in January 2019. But then what happened is that as we progressed and as we built more features, we have discovered more and more interesting things that we can do with Mimblewimble. So we have started to extending this protocol in many different ways. We used kernels to add additional metadata. So we were able to create things like, for example, laser beam, which is direct payment channels between two wallets. And once you open a channel, it works like a little bit similar to the Lightning Network channels, where you can have instant transactions without having confirmations on the chain. And we created atomic swaps using these extensions, right? So you can swap between Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Qtum today, and we are adding more coins soon. And Beam, completely, decentralized, trustless, no third party, and it works really well. And then what happened is that we encountered this work by Aram Zhivanyan, who is a cryptographer from Armenia, and he's working with Zcoin. And he developed a completely separate protocol, which is called Lilantus. And Zcoin is using this protocol, developing this protocol today. So we saw that there are a lot of similarities in the cryptography that he uses in his protocol and cryptography that is used in Mimblewimble. So we started investigating it, and we saw that we can combine these two approaches to have something that solves two interesting problems. The first problem, as I mentioned, is the linkability, because what is Lilantus is basically a shielded pool. And you just take your UTXO, you put it in the pool, you wait for the anonymity set to accumulate, and then you take out a completely new UTXO, which has no relation to all the previous history. Okay? And you can prove that you put the same amount of money as you're taking out, but from the transaction graph point of view, these are completely unrelated. And it's very important. So we took that and we adapted it to work with Mimblewimble. That's why we call it Lilantus Mimblewimble, and we even published a separate paper about it to explain exactly what are the differences between the original Lilantus protocol and what we've done. But also, in addition to that, we were able to create one-side payments or non-interactive transactions, because Mimblewimble, one of the key differences is that it's an interactive protocol. So unlike Bitcoin, where you can have an address and you just create a transaction and send it to the network to this address, and that's it. In Mimblewimble, you need both wallets, the sender and the receiver, to sign this transaction before you can send it to the network. And it was a major pain in the adoption, because people are used to having some address and just sending money, and that's it. Here you have to have both wallets online, not at the same time, but in some close, like 12-hour period, to create this transaction. So Lilantus also allowed us to create these one-side payments, so you no longer need this interactivity. So both of these features are currently being released in the 5.1, and we will improve them in the 5.2. And it's very, very important for us. So that's how it, historically, that's how it went. Okay, so the development of Lilantus was kind of, so we didn't expect that. It was something very, something that we heard about and then investigated. But that's how it usually works. And one of the things that we see through the industry, there are a lot of developments, and they're being adopted from between different projects, and it's very important, because otherwise you cannot develop everything yourself. So historically, that was the way it worked. By the way, very interesting things, like every feature that we develop, we also learn a lot about different possibilities of what else we can do. For example, the idea of Lilantus, where you have this transaction that takes the input, UTXO, and then puts it into the pool. Basically, what it does, there is no output, right? So there is the input, and then it converts and changes the state of the pool. And then when you take something out, there is no input. You take something out of the pool, and then you create a new output. So the same idea we're now using in our Beam contracts, where you have input UTXO that changes the state. Instead of the pool, we change the state of the internal Beam contract. So all these ideas are related to one another in a very interesting way.
Also, like, you got to, the users need to understand that Beam is completely open source, which means if someone has, a brilliant idea, they can come and like create an issue on GitHub and start developing,
yes,
directly. And also the beauty is that, they can have a sort of a hands-on experience with blockchain. Now we tend to learn a lot about the theory of blockchain and, how it works and things like that. But only when you actually interact with the blockchain and the product, do you start understanding the nitty-gritties of, the things. So I think people should do more hands-on stuff so that they understand it well. And though it's open source, we have like a dedicated team which can always help them out if they are stuck. If they want to figure out something, we have great developers who will guide them in the right way too. And we of course have a lot of issues open, and if anyone solves that, I think there may be some bounties as well for them. You can look at them on GitHub directly as well. So developers, if you are interested, you can just come and just dive and start developing.
So let me say a few words how this how Beam code is structured, and suggest maybe a few ways to approach that. So Beam code, like in many other projects that I saw, has 3 levels. Okay, so the hardest level is the Beam core functionality, the node and the basic cryptography stuff. It's very difficult. It's C++. It's not just C++. It's very strange C++. It's hardcore. Our developer Vladi, who is working on that, mostly on that part, is very, let's say, he has unorthodox approach. So you will see things there that you might not encounter or be familiar with from like anywhere else. But this is just the core library, right? The core node functionality and the core cryptography. Above that, we have, of course, the networking layer that's like less interesting, but we have the wallet. The Beam wallet is implemented in C++ as well, and it uses Qt framework for the UI, at least on desktop. And this is, for example, something that is possible to learn. So you can take this code, you can run it. Of course, everything is open source. And we have a dedicated developer channel on Telegram where you can ask questions and answer, like all our team is there and they will answer it, whether it's how to run something or compile or questions about specific functionality. So this is something that is a little bit easier to contribute to. And we have created issues that we have marked help wanted in our GitHub. In the Beam UI project, we have a separate project for all UI related issues. And each such task has a bounty attached to it, which appears inside the description, like how much you will get if you solve this specific issue. And of course, we provide the description with complete all the details that you need, and you always can ask questions and we will help you. Another level, which is even more, I think, simple to start working with, is the level of all the applications that we built around Beam. So we have an API of the wallet, which you can use with any programming language, whether it's JavaScript or Python, whatever. And you can start interacting with the API. And the API today is very extensive. It supports almost all the functionality of the wallet. So you can start creating applications, and we even have examples of such applications. For example, we have the web wallet, which is the Chrome extension that you can take, and it's JavaScript code which wraps there is a C++ library wrapped in WebAssembly, but you can access it through JavaScript. And we have other applications that are written in Python, that like Beam Pay, for example, which is payment processor for Beam. So we have quite a lot of examples of things that you can do without starting, with the C++ or changing the base functionality. And of course, if anyone is interested in learning, contributing, or doing whatever with our code, please contact us through our Telegram, email, or any other medium, and we will very gladly help and try to do everything we can to get you started. Fix if something is missing in the documentation, and basically provide all kinds of support.
Awesome, great. I mean, after this conversation, what I truly believe is that like you guys are doing some pretty crazy and exciting stuff. And like since you also mentioned about developers and all that, how can developers get into Beam? They start building something, interact with the APIs and all. So I think it's really great stuff that you are doing. So I'll just recommend everyone that just try out Beam, see in more depth that what all they are doing, and if you have any queries, then reach out to either me or like Suhas, Alex, or Amir. You can reach out to anyone, or you can reach out to me and I can connect you to them. And definitely you should try this. And also, as a part of a giveaway, so we are giving some Beam tokens on the Zubi group, on the Telegram group. So if you have not yet claimed them, so just go there. You'll see a red envelope in the recent messages, and just click on it, and you'll, like, without any extra efforts, you'll just get some free Beam tokens, which you can either keep if you like Beam, or maybe you can trade it in your respective currencies and all. So yeah, so that can be done. So I think most of the questions are covered, and also the time is over. I mean, half an
One
hour.
last thing, just like,
Yeah, yeah.
by the way, the red envelope is a great
Mm-hmm.
example of a Telegram bot application which uses interaction with Beam Wallet. And it was actually created by one of the close community developers. And we have a lot of such examples. So that's a great example, like games using Beam, bots using Beam. A lot of stuff can be built and is built, as you can see.
Awesome.
That's it.
So guys, you can create the next bot, the 2.0 bot for Beam, which can be even better. And yeah, you can get in touch with any one of us, and if you have any queries, you can just put out in the comments. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 queries. I think most of them have been answered. Let me just check. Okay, so there's one question. Monisha is asking, how is Beam mining different from Bitcoin mining? Is it faster, or does it consume less energy?
Yeah, so quick answer, quick history. We started with equihash variation, which is an algorithm that is mined on GPU, and it's very difficult to be mined on ASICs because of the hard memory requirements. And then we have announced at the beginning of the project, and when we launched in January 19, we announced that we will have 2 forks where we will change the parameters in order to give GPU miners a head start. So the first difference is that today Beam is mineable on GPUs, not on ASICs. However, our second upgrade, which was just released in the 5.0 version at the end of July, it was to BeamHash 3. So the first one was BeamHash 2, and the last one is BeamHash 3. And BeamHash 3 is built in a way that will allow in the future smooth transition to the ASICs. So it will be, there might be ASICs for BeamHash 3, but they will, the algorithm is designed in a way so that their advantage will be kept. So their advantage will be not as huge, it will be like orders of magnitude. So still there will be both combination of maybe ASIC miners if it's economically feasible. Right now it's not, like not with our current prices, market cap, nobody will invest in building these miners. They're going to be pretty expensive, but if at some point it will be economically profitable, then there will be like developing an ecosystem where both GPU miners and ASIC miners can coexist. So BeamHash 3 is the current algorithm. If you want to mine Beam, just GPU farm or pools, you can connect to any pool. If you have a machine with several GPUs, there are at least, I think, 10 pools that currently support Beam. So you can join any of them, and or if you have enough hashing power, just solo mine. That's possible as well. That's it.
Okay, great. So I hope, Monisha, your query was clear. And if you have any more doubts, you can just go on Google and try searching some of the things. And
we have also mining channel on Telegram. You can go to our mining channel, and we have information on our website, beam.mw, specifically for mining. So you can go there, you can download the mining software, and all the information is there. No need to Google. Everything is there.
awesome. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that. And then, like, we'll take just the last question from Venkat. So let me just project it. So he's asking that I'm a beginner in blockchain and I have a good understanding on consensus protocol. So how can I start contributing if I don't know much about blockchain development?
So I think the best way to start is to start creating applications around our wallet, because it will quickly introduce all the nuances how Beam works, because it's very different from what people are used to in Bitcoin. There is this interactivity part, and the transactions are structured a little bit differently. There are different limitations. So if you build 1 or 2 very basic applications, like for example, a game or something, you will immediately learn all the basic building blocks that you need. And of course, you will get any help. So that's the first part. And then it depends on what is your where do you want to contribute. You can either contribute in the wallet if you're a C++ developer, or if you are Python, JavaScript, or any other type of developer, you can contribute in the applications around Beam. If you're a Go developer, for example, you can try and look at our, we have this centralized trustless wallet service, which is written in Go. So you can contribute there. So basically, we have a lot of technologies and languages, and you can start working with any one of them. All of them are open source. Everything is on our GitHub. So just select what is most attractive to you, or where do you want to start. We will find something to do for everyone, I think.
Great. So yeah, so I think most of the questions are done, and we are out of time, so we cannot take any more questions. So if you guys have any more questions, you can go to Beam's Telegram group, and you can contact the Beam team and ask your queries there. So thanks a lot, Suhas, Alex, and Amir, for joining us today. And I mean, it really was an insightful discussion, both for the audience as well as for me. I also got to know a lot about how Beam is actually working. So thanks a lot, guys. And do you have anything else to add, Suhas, Amir?
Thank you very much for having us.
Right. Now we can continue on Beam India Telegram, where the team is going to be there. So if any of you guys have any questions, you can ask us there. And also we'll be picking a few interesting questions as winners as well. So yes, feel free to come join us there, and we'll continue there. Amir, do you have anything to add or no?
No, I was expecting more when moon question. This is why I'm here. No, I think we covered it all good, and we'll be hanging around the Beam India community Telegram to answer additional questions. And just want to thank you, Zubi, again for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so for the rest of the audience, so I'll just walk you through the Consensus Academy's Blockchain Developer Bootcamp Scholarship. Okay, so the Beam session has ended. So just give me a minute. I'll just share my screen and tell you the entire process. Okay, so I think my screen is visible now. So I'll just give you a brief about the Blockchain Bootcamp Scholarship, what it is all about, what you will be learning in it, and how you can apply for it. So all the details I'll be covering. So yeah. So this is the Blockchain Developer Online Bootcamp by Consensus Academy. So Consensus is specifically giving out 10 scholarships to the Zubi community. It is exclusive for our community. And any one of you can fill an application form, which I'll just show you, and you can apply for it, and we'll choose the top 10 people, and then they will be getting a scholarship which will be completely free. That is, this particular bootcamp has a price of around $1,000 US, which is around 70 to 75,000 INR, and you will be getting it at a cost of 0. Okay, so I'll just walk you through it. So it, as you can see, so it is starting in 2 days and 24 hours, that is around 3 days. So the boot camp is starting from September 1st, so we don't have much time. We if you are interested in the scholarship, so you just have to apply for it by latest by 31st, because the boot camp is starting from 1st. And then if you see some more details, then you'll see some of the graduates of this particular boot camp have worked in these companies. And then it is a 11-week self-paced program, so you'll be having recordings of the videos, and it's spread around 11 weeks. And for each week it requires a commitment of around 10 to 15 hours. Okay, so you have to, before applying for the scholarship, just keep in mind, just think properly that you should be able to give 10 to 15 hours per week for 11 weeks continuously, so that you should be able to actually benefit from this opportunity. Okay, so this was one thing. Then some of the important things that I feel is like the things that are different in this boot camp are like they have like various opportunities of one-to-one mentorship, and like some other things, like you'll be doing peer projects and you'll get a lot of opportunities to network with the mentors and the peers. So that is one great thing, and then you get a certification from consensus. So if you want to explore it in more detail, like what will be the course curriculum, then you can go on the website. You can you can just Google that blockchain developer bootcamp by Consensus Academy, and you'll get all the details of the course, like what it will cover, who are the instructors and all. So like we will be going forward with it with the application process. So you have to fill the application, and you will be all set to go. So I'll be sharing the link to the application form in the Telegram group soon after this this video ends, this session ends. So yeah, so this is the Google form that you have to fill. Okay, so these are some basic details like name, email, gender, profiles, and some other things. Then you have to tell your basic like what level of understanding you have of blockchain, and do you have any experience in programming before, not necessary in blockchain. And then some other things, like we really want to understand that why you think you are the ideal candidate, because we have only 10 positions open, and like believe me, it's a great opportunity for anyone who will be joining this. So we just want to understand from your end that why we should give you this opportunity. You can talk about your passion, why you need the scholarship, or what are your plans after completing this. How do you think you can take that knowledge forward, or maybe help others with this knowledge, or whatever your plans are. So just you can answer that. Then, as I also mentioned while telling you about the bootcamp, that it is very necessary that you are able to commit 10 to 15 hours per week, because like if you are not able to complete it, then it's kind of a effort wasted. So it's better that someone else take it, and you once you get some time, then obviously more opportunities will come for you. And then there are some basic questions, and then there is a second section to this particular form, where you just have to like answer some very basic questions on programming. These are just 10 questions, which I think you don't need any separate preparation for this. It's just checking your maybe logic or little bit other coding skills, so you don't need to worry about it. And as I mentioned, that the deadline to apply is 31st August 6 p.m. IST, and the results will be announced on September 1st, and the bootcamp is also starting from September 1st. So I'll be sharing the link to this form soon in the Telegram group, and you can just fill it out as soon as possible. There is no first come first serve criteria. However, we will just prefer if you can fill it as soon as possible and don't wait for the deadline, because we also have to make the decision, and the more applications that are coming earlier, so it's better for us also to evaluate them properly. So yeah, I think most of the steps are clear. So after just filling this, you just have to fill this application and nothing else, and we'll be announcing the result on 1st September, and the bootcamp is also starting on 1st September. So if do you guys have any queries, you can put out in the chat. Monisha is asking, after registering they are asking to pay. Okay, so Monisha, you don't have to register from the consensus official website. From there it will ask you to pay, and I think the registrations are already closed. I'm not sure what you are referring to. So I'll be sharing the application forms link soon, and you just have to apply there, and at no other platform. Okay, then Venkat is asking, how are the candidates chosen? So Venkat, I think I covered that also. So the candidates will be chosen based on like based on the responses that you are filling, and it will depend on why do you need the scholarship, and like how much passionate you are, how much do you want to give back to the community, and how much technical skills you currently have. So that like this is also very necessary because this is a quite in-depth boot camp. So if you are like a complete newbie to programming, like you have never coded in any language, C, Python or XYZ anything, then it might be a bit difficult for you to cope up with the pace of this boot camp. So your technical skills, your how much passionate you are, why do you need the scholarship, what all you can do after, like once we equip you with this particular scholarship and you get that knowledge, so what can you do with that knowledge further in your life, what are your aims. So all these things matter. So once you see the application, you will get an idea. And yeah, that's all from my side. So if you guys have any other queries, you can put out in the comments. Prabpreet is asking that I have just cleared my 12th. I am very interested in blockchain, but I don't have so much knowledge in programming and all. So will I be able to do the assessment test? Okay, so Prabpreet, if you have ever worked with any language in your life before, if you just know that seeing any new coding language, if you don't see stars maybe, then you will be able to solve it, because those are very basic questions. And don't worry if you are not able to solve it, like give your best, try your best, and rest we will decide, like who all are the top 10 candidates. Okay, so I think those were most of the questions. I cannot see any more. So guys, if you have any more questions, just contact me on Telegram, put it up on the Zubi group or you can DM me or whatever. So I'm always there to help you guys. That's all from my side. Thanks a lot for joining, and I hope you like the Beams AMA also. And you can check more details. You can Google or you can join their community or whatever suits you. And for the blockchain bootcamp scholarship, I think that everything is clear. It's a very simple process that we have tried to keep. uh, okay, there are some more queries. Okay, so Kanva is asking that I withdrew some Beam tokens to my wallet, and how can I change them to INR or Bitcoin? So Kanva, you can just talk to their bot, or you can get in touch with the Beam team. They will be able to help you better in this. Okay, guys, so I think that's all for today's session. Thanks a lot for joining, and hope to see you in the bootcamp scholarship soon. Okay, bye.